An example of pie chart. Okay, this is a pie chart. Exports from Fantasy in 2005 were explained over there. Oil is 35%, rubber, tea, cotton, coffee and paper are amongst other. So let's start this one. This pie chart shows the various products which were exported from Fantasy in 2005 as a percentage of total export from that country. So here you can check overall this pie chart shows in percentage form. So it is clear that oil is by far the most important of the 6 export projects. So oil it contribute to 35%. So we use it is clear that by far the most important of 6 export. Looking closer in detail at the chart, it can be observed that oil accounts for 35% of exports in 2005. This is 15 times higher than the next most important export, which is the tea. So the tea is at 20%. So 35% is 15% higher than a tea at 20%. Cotton and paper were equally important because they are 15% and 15%. Equally important to the Fantasian economy in 2005, they made up 30% of total figure because they are 15% each, so they make up 30% of total figure. While coffee and rubber were relatively minor contributor to the exports because they are at exports figure at 10% and 5% respectively, because coffee is 10% and the rubber is 5%. This is rubber, red one, 5%. Fantasia is clearly a country that relies on its natural resources and agriculture. Let's have another example. So here are 2 pie charts shows the comparison of different energy production in 2 years in France. So oil, gas, petrol, nuclear, other and core resources are here. Let's start this one example. 2 pie charts illustrates the portion of 5 type of energy resources in France in 2005 and 1995 and 2005. Overall, in both years, the most significant energy resources were gas and coal. So because gas is 30% in both cases, almost so as the coal, which together accounts for more than a half of energy production, because they together almost 58 to 59% in both cases. While nuclear and other kind of resources generated the least amount of energy production in France. Nuclear is at 10% and others are 9%. So as here nuclear is 6% and 4.9%. So they produce the least amount of energy in France. In all type of energy production, there was only a minimal change over the 10 years, because it's 29 to gas is 30 almost, except petrol. In almost all cases there is a minimal change. The energy production by coal comprised of 29% in 1995 and this showed a very slight increase of about a mere 1% to 39.9% in 2005. So it shows about a mere almost 1% increase in 2005. Likewise, in 2009, gas generated 29% of total, which rose marginally to the 30% 10 years later. With regard to the remaining method of energy production, there was approximately 5% growth in the production of both nuclear and other resources to 10.10% and 9.10% respectively. So other resources are 9.10% and nuclear is 10.10%. They rose almost 5% because here it's 4.9 to 9 point something and 6 to 10, almost 5%. On the other hand, petrol was the only resource which decreased the production from 29.7% in 1995 and around a fifth in 2005. Around a fifth mean 20%. No? A fourth mean 25%. So around a fifth mean 19.5%. In bracket I shows this exact figure. Two pie charts. Another example. Turkey percentage in agriculture, construction, manufacturing, trades, healthcare, finance, layer and government. So this is 2000 and next one is 2016. Two pie charts illustrates how different industrial sectors, agriculture, construction, manufacturing, transportation, health and care, finance, business, layer and hospitality and government contributed to the economy of Turkey in 2000 and 2016. Overall, at the beginning of the period, the construction contributed the least to the economy of Turkey. Construction is at 3%, so construction contributed least to the economy of Turkey, while the agriculture was the most significant economic sector. Agriculture is 24%. In comparison, at the end of the period, healthcare and education become the largest economic center. Healthcare and what is the health is 17%. So this is the largest economic center. And lowest contribution was made by finance, business and other services. The lowest contribution was made by finance, which is 8%. Construction sector accounted for 3% in the economy of Turkey in 2000 and experienced more than threefold increase to 110 in 2006. So construction sector was here 3% and it's 10%. So instead of saying 10%, I use the word increase to 110. 110 mean a 10th part, which is 10% in 2016. The economic income from trade and transportation was 14% in 2005 and had a slight growth of 2% in 2016. So from 14% it goes to 16%, 2% growth in 2016. At the beginning of the period, the manufacturing and finance, business and other sectors made up 8% and 5% of Turkey's economy, and these figures rose to 12% and 8% respectively. So the finance goes from 8% to 12%. Likewise the manufacturing, the next one goes to, whereas you can check the manufacturing sector, it goes from finance goes from 5 to 8% and manufacturing from 8 to 12%. So here finance was at 5% and now it's at 8%, whereas the manufacturing was 8% and now it's 12%. Yeah, over here. Agriculture, which comprised almost a quarter of Turkey's economy in 2000. A quarter of Turkey's economy, it means almost 25%. So almost, I used the word almost because exactly it is 24%. Fell 14% in 2016. So 14% fell to 14%. So it reached at the level of 14% in 2016. In 2000, economic input from the government, leisure and hospitality sectors were 12% and 17%. So from the government it was 12%, and from leisure it was 17% comparatively. Both were decreased by 3% at the end of after 16 years period. So from 12% it goes to the 9%, and the other one is 17%, it goes to 14%. So both of these were decreased by 3%. Instead of saying 14% and 9%, I use the word decreased by 3%. In contrast, the contribution from healthcare remains the constant in both years at 17%. So it was 17% over here and 17% likewise. Next one will be a table